Hi guys, it's Rob here from Hypop at hypop.com.au. Today we're taking a closer look at the new EF150 by Jinbei. So this is a newly released product. It was released this month, October 2015. So we'll quickly unbox it and we'll have a look at some of the new features and compare it to the EF200, which is the really popular Jinbei continuous LED light. So let's open this up really quickly. So as you can see, here's the box. It's a color box. It's got the Jinbei brand, it's the EF150. So let's quickly open this up. Okay, so we've got a couple of styrofoam pieces here. And we've got the head itself. We've got a just an instruction guide here and just some technical specifications. And lastly is just the power cable. We'll put this box to the side. Okay, so let's have a closer look at the EF150. Okay, so there we have it. So on first impressions, I can definitely tell that it's a lot smaller, or just a little bit smaller than the EF200 in terms of size and the length. It is 150 watts, so it's 50 watts less in power intensity and power output than the EF200, which is 200 watts. So this is a perfect mid-range because they do have the EF100, which did have some problems with fan noise and the noise that it actually produced. The EF200, which had a silent running fan, which cooled the actual light itself. Now the EF150, which also has the silent running fan. So we've got this EF150 plugged in to the power outlet here. So let's take a closer look at the actual light itself. Firstly, when we remove the Bowens cap, first thing I can see is that the heatsink itself is actually now protruding outside of the chassis. So with the EF200, it was actually all enclosed in the case. So the EF200 was probably about 10 centimeters or so longer, which means that it would actually conceal this, the heatsink. So here you can actually see the heatsink. It's visible right at the front of the head here. You still have the LED chip, which is that high-powered LED that produces 150 watts of output. On the side there, you can see the EF150, and at the back here, a few things have changed. So with the EF200, there were the plus and minus control buttons, the power output buttons, but here it looks like it's actually a spinning dial now. So it's actually when you turn it, it actually increases the intensity, and you turn it down, that decreases it as well. So it's still fairly straightforward. It's an easy unit to use. You've still got the aerial head here, so that's the wireless antenna for the TRS trigger that controls the head wirelessly, and you've got the power output here, and just above the power output is the actual fuse compartment. So the fuse compartment houses a fuse as well as a spare fuse, so in case that busts. They're 2 amp fuses, they're standard fuses, so if you ever have to replace them, they're relatively easy to do from any electronics store. So what we'll do now is we'll just quickly power this on. Okay, great. So powered that on, it's just a simple on and off switch there. And you can see there's actually an LED dial now as well, so the LED display, sorry. So the LED display at its lowest setting is 10%, and as you turn the dial to the right, it actually increases by 5% increments. So it goes 15, 20, all the way up to 100%. Okay, so we've got the EF150 and the EF200 side by side here, so the 150 watt model and the 200 watt model. We can have a closer look at the actual physical differences of the heads themselves. So the EF200, side by side, you can actually see that it is slightly longer in terms of length there. So you can see there's about 10 centimeters or so, a bit longer than the actual EF150. That's due to the heatsink inside. So the EF200 uses a larger heatsink because it does produce a little bit more output in terms of lighting power. So it actually has 50 watts more. So that's the reason why the length is a little longer. Besides that, just the front is pretty much the same. Besides what I mentioned earlier, which is the heatsink that protrudes out here of the EF150, whereas the EF200 is really just a flush front there. So the front, that's the only major difference. And on the back here, so on the back you can see on the EF200 it's just got the plus and minus dials as well as some of the switches for the wireless receiver, which is the TRS wireless receiver by Jinbei. Whereas on the EF150 you've actually got a round dial. So this round dial you just twist to increase and decrease the intensity, and there are no switches. So it actually all the all the dials are shown on this LED screen here, which we'll show shortly. This is just a lighting test of the EF150. We've turned off all the lights in the studio, and we've got this on the lowest intensity right now, which is 10% at the back here. And we've just got it shining down on a subject here. It's about 1 meter away, and it's just the camera here that we're using as a subject. It's something that you might do. This might be a typical setup if you're doing product photography, for example. You may have a lighting diffuser on there, but for this lighting test purpose, we won't actually put a lighting diffuser on there. We're just having the actual light shine directly onto the camera. So right now it's on 10%. It goes up in 5% increments. So right now that's gone up to 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85. That's already at 100 actually, so that's gone all the way up to 100. So that's at full strength right now. So it's about 1 meter away, as mentioned. And as you can see, for purposes such as this, if you're doing product photography, or if you don't have your subject too far, especially if you're doing fashion photography, for example, or newborn baby photography, or young children, you won't be having them too far from the light. You will have the softbox there to diffuse a little bit, so you may lose a stop or so. But this is more than enough light, especially with advanced digital SLR cameras, where you can use higher ISOs and still get really crisp, sharp photos. This is still a perfect lighting option for that. It's also really great because you don't have to worry about the flash, which is sometimes a bit hard to control. You don't see the light before it actually goes off, and it might be a bit too strong of an output for newborn photography or children photography. Continuous lighting is a really nice soft white light, as you can see, so it represents its true colors on the actual subject or the product that you're taking a photo of. Okay, so now this is the EF200. It's on the lowest intensity right now, so we'll just increase the intensity, just test the different output levels. So I'll just increase that. There's 10 different levels of intensity, so it's second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th. So that's at full output right now. You can definitely tell that there is slightly a bit more light, but it isn't too much of a difference, I've noticed. So if you do need that additional light and you do want, you're not comfortable using higher ISOs, for example, in your photos, then going for the additional lighting with the EF200, the 200 watt, is definitely the way to go. But the EF150 is a great alternative if your budget doesn't allow it, for example, or if you're just after a mid-range continuous light. So continuous lighting is really great for video productions and green screening, and as well as photography. So the continuous LED lights are very versatile. They're ready to last 100,000 hours, and as you can see, they are a bright white light, and that's 5500 Kelvin. Okay, so that was just a quick review of the EF150 in comparison to the EF200 by Jinbei. These are great continuous LED lights. They're ready to last 100,000 hours, so they're a great long-term lighting source, continuous lighting source for your product photography or your photography and videography needs. For more information, contact us at www.hypop.com.au, subscribe to us on YouTube, and thanks for watching.